Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports. Today is October, what is it? 29th, 2025. And this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's up out there, everybody? This is Ben Dickerson. I am your co host. I'd like to start off before we get to the Bias Plus reports with my, as promised, little mid season awards. I'm going to go through it real quick. I'm not going to throw out numbers or anything like that. This is strictly my opinion and my opinion only. If you agree, let me know. If you don't agree, let me know. Go in the comments. Let's argue. Let's fight. Let me know how you feel. Number one, MVP, midseason MVP, Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. I know it's traditionally a quarterback award. It should not be a quarterback award, but traditionally it is. I can't remember the exact last season when somebody other than a quarterback won it, but I do remember that it was Adrian Peterson who actually won the award. He's the last non-quarterback to win it. Offensive Player of the Year, my previous MVP candidate, and for some of these, I picked two guys. That's how tough it's been. So for Offensive Player of the Year, I had Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts. Both great leaders of really nice offenses, both winning different ways, but getting it done. Defensive Player of the Year, I have two guys. All round best defensive player, I think, is TJ Watt from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the guy that's earning every penny of his big contract on a losing team is Myles Garrett. This guy lost badly and still had 5 sacks by himself in one game. Unbelievable season he's having right now. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I got two guys. Wide receiver from the Bucks, Emeka Egbuka, and Tyler Warren, the tight end of the Colts, who's really, I mean, he started off the season okay, but he's been blowing up, man. He's a main focus of that offense as far as the passing game is concerned. Defensive Rookie of the Year was a little tougher to do. Uh, there's nobody that's really outstanding. I'm going to take the opportunity, though, to throw one of my guys in there, Abdul Carter. Although he doesn't have big sack numbers, he's taken on a lot as far as rushing the passer, trying to stop the run, and being in coverage. He's doing a lot. So he's not going to really give you big numbers and make a lot of splash plays, but he's been playing consistently well for the Giants. And also Jihad Campbell, kind of the same thing he's doing for the Eagles. So again, not outstanding. I don't think there's a rookie DB out there that has a whole bunch of interceptions or anything like that. So I went with those two. And then Coach of the Year, and I feel very strongly about both of these guys, Shane Steichen, the Colts head coach, and Mike Vrabel, the coach of the Patriots. Those to me are both Coach of the Year at midseason. So we'll see how this comes out when the official ones come out at the end of the season. See how close or if I nailed any of these correctly over the course of the full season.
Right, good list, good list. Yeah, yeah. Now, let me tell you something. Just watching Jonathan Taylor run by people who have an obvious angle on them. It's like, holy mackerel. So yeah, he is absolutely. I like when he hits the end zone. He has his little stunted leg thing he does.
That's yeah, that's a neat little celebration. I like that.
Yeah,
It's
you
different.
know,
It's
it is.
different.
It is. It's subtle. You know what I
It's
mean?
yeah, it's not flashy, but it's definitely his thing.
And that ain't easy to do when you run top speed. You just
True. True.
break into that little stunted thing. So yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, all right, that's pretty good. Now, Benny, how did I do? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was 66%.
That's good. And I went against the bias a lot, and I was horrible. I don't even want to tell you what it was. In fact, I didn't even do the math. I
Oh,
was
excuse me.
bad, really bad.
0.6923.
Okay, that's pretty good.
69%, which is
That's
a
pretty
nice
good.
breakout because I was in that 50% rut like a champ.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, I was there like a champ. So that was interesting. And watching it go down to the last with the Packers.
Well, you know what? That kind of coincides with the fact that, remember what I said, as I look over the power rankings, how things seem to be settling in, that I feel good about where teams are right now, that we can believe in a bunch of teams, and there's other teams that we know we just can't believe in, and there's a few that are still on that up and down thing. So the numbers are starting to settle in, and therefore the bias is going to be, pretty much right most of the time, more than not.
We're getting there. We're
We're
getting there.
getting there.
We're getting there. But yeah, that first half of the season was wild up and down. Teams that you and well, I'm going to leave the surprises up to you as we go through the upcoming week's games because you'll tap into what just happened. So you ready for that, Benny?
Yes, sir.
Let's go get it. First off, Benny, can you see that?
Yes.
How do you like my spooky football
Oh, is
helmet
that
background?
that's the Halloween vibe?
That's the Halloween vibe. Yes, it is.
Okay, those are the teams that are on their bye weeks: the Browns, the Jets, the Eagles, and the Bucks. Um, yeah, if you got well, first of all, if you had AJ Brown in fantasy, he hasn't been available for you, and I don't even know if he's going to be available for you this week or not with a little hamstring there. But you're going to miss Devontae Smith a bit, and you're going to miss Goddard, and you're going to miss Hurts. So I know there's some Eagle-centric teams out there that might take an L this week in fantasy because their main guys are not with them. Also, the Browns defense has been outstanding in fantasy. Let me tell
Okay.
you, man, with the sacks and turnovers,
Okay.
yeah, they've been doing really well. Nobody's going to miss any Jets except for Brees Hall, and I can't even say Garrett Wilson because he's been injured too. And of course, the Bucks. I play Baker Mayfield myself quite a bit,
Okay.
so I won't have him. I won't have a Mecca, and I won't have their defense. So could be a little tricky in fantasy. For me personally, not as bad as it was last week, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, last week was tough.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, there's our bye week team, so they won't be in any of the upcoming matchups. Let's go to the first one. That will be Thursday night, Benny. Ravens at Dolphins. Look at this bias plus score of 0.3. Favoring the Dolphins, Benny.
Hmm.
And what did Lamar say? It's like every game is a must-win game for us.
That's what he said.
I think it's the same for the Dolphins. Am I not correct?
For the Dolphins, every game is a must win for the head coach.
Okay, okay. You think the head coach is on the hot seat a bit?
Oh, his seat's burning hot.
What do you got on this
His seat's
matchup?
burning hot. So let's see. Dolphins will be at home. Ravens. Oh boy. Ravens 2-5. Dolphins 2-6. But the Ravens came off the bye last week in a big, big way. They ended the Bears' 4-game win streak and their own 4-game losing streak, both at the same time with a win over the Bears. Lamar mysteriously went, and this is still a mystery to me. I heard a few explanations, but none really clicked. It's hard to tell what's going on. But anyway, mysteriously, he went from questionable to practicing in full to being out before game time when it looked clearly like he practiced and was fine. But for whatever reason, they decided not to play him. In fact, it's so mysterious that the league's kind of looking into it. I don't know if they come up with anything yet, but yeah, it didn't sit too well with everybody there. But anyway, Snoop Huntley started the game. He led the way and handed the ball off to Derrick Henry 21 times. My personal key to victory for the Baltimore Ravens. The defense looks strong against the run, but they still need improvement in the secondary. and they definitely got to get that pass rush going. Yeah, it's going to be a tough task for them to keep on winning or to put together a real win streak to get ready for the playoffs if in fact they don't get a pass rush going. Lamar should be ready to go this week though, so we're going to look for that. Now, speaking of losing streaks, the Dolphins were riding a bad 3 game stretch themselves, but they ended it in Atlanta this past Sunday. Tua woke up with one of his eyes swollen shut. Now, that's never happened to me so bad that I would say it was swollen shut. But sometimes you get all that like sleep in your eyes and you get a little extra. I don't know where it comes from. And it's all in your eyelash and stuff. I don't know if that ever happened to you,
Usually when
but
you
it's
have a
happened to
cold,
me before. Yeah, that
when you have a
cold, all that.
cold, yeah.
Yeah. So evidently, I'm assuming that's what happened. Um, I never exactly found out what it was. I don't think they said anything, but they gave him some antibiotics and they gave him a new helmet visor, and that kind of took care of that. And he took care of the Falcons with 205 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 turnovers.
Mm.
Even better, they ran the ball really, really well for a nice balanced offensive attack that ate a bunch of clock and generated 24 first downs. That coming from the Dolphins was unbelievable.
No.
However,
No.
I got to pick the Ravens to win this game. I do not believe in the Dolphins at all.
And does it make any difference whether Lamar plays as far as you're concerned?
Snoop can beat the Dolphins.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. That's what I wanted to know. All right. Well, the bias says it's close, so it can go either way. And if they continue to give the ball to Henry, well, I would say that they have a good chance, but there's always a chance with a Chan, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, now, if you remember what I just said, the Ravens seem to have fixed what ails them as far as the run game is concerned. So they kind of got some people back as far as the run stoppers are concerned. Rushing the passer and working things out in the secondary seems to be their issue.
Okay. All right. So you're going against the bias, going with the Ravens. And I forgot that I had this information there for you now. I did put this back into the PowerPoint, Benny, so you can kind of see why they were so close. Actually, they were equal in net points, but the Dolphins were a little bit better on turnover differential.
Mm.
So that's how close these two have played so far in terms of numbers are concerned. Okay. Falcons at Patriots. Bias plus score of 13.3 favors the Patriots, Benny. Ah, this should be an interesting NFC, AFC. Falcons got to get their act together. You said if God created a running back, it would look like the Falcons running back there.
And then I amended it.
Yeah, right. Christian McCaffrey, right?
Right. I may have to amend it again for Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. When I first asked it, talked about it, that's what I was thinking. Um,
Right.
hey, what can I
Uh,
tell you? But 13.3 favoring those Patriots, and they're up in New England.
yep, that's a good thing for them. Their fans get to see their 6-2 team go to work against the 3-4 Falcons. So yeah, the Dolphins kind of caught the Falcons with their pants down last week. They fell behind 17-3 by halftime, and the negative game script took Bijan Robinson completely out of the game. They weren't able to sustain more than a couple of drives, going 3-and-out 4 times, getting stopped on downs twice, and they turned the ball over on a fumble. Cannot win like that. Kirk Cousins couldn't save them against a weak Miami defense, so it's hard to imagine much better in New England, whether Penix plays or Kirk Cousins again. The Patriots D choked off the Browns run game, picked off Dylan Gabriel twice, and basically let his own ineptitude keep him on the sidelines so Drake May and his offense could totally dominate the time of possession. May has now broken two of Tom Brady's franchise records. Oh man, we've been praising this guy, and he done broke Brady records.
Mm.
He's already broken Brady's single game completion percentage record, and the Cleveland game was his fifth with at least 200 passing yards and at least two passing touchdowns. Brady had four. He now has five. I'm going with the Patriots. This one's a no-brainer.
Kirk Cousins wants to be a starting quarterback again, Benny. What do you think?
I think he needs to put some good tape out there. He looked horrible last week.
All right. Falcons at Patriots. Ben's going with the bias with the Patriots. All right. I keep forgetting that I have this information here to share. You can see the big differential in ranking between the Patriots and the Falcons, where the Patriots are coming in at fifth and the Falcons are 23rd. So that kind of gives you a hint as to who would be favored in that matchup. Panthers at Packers, bias plus score of 13.7 favors the Packers, Benny. Let's see. You hear the bubble in the back?
Yeah.
That's my grandson, ladies and gentlemen. He got licensed, but I'm gonna have to chill him out a little bit. Hey, Ace. Thank you. There you go. That's my buddy. That's why I have this Aces shirt on, lady. That's Ace. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ace. So we had to back the Aces. Anyway, Packers are ranked 10th, winning by an average of 6.1, and the Panthers are ranked 22nd, and they're losing by an average of 4.8, minus 4.8 points per game. So you can kind of see why the Pack would be favored in this situation, Benny. But what do you got?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember you questioning whether Andy Dalton might be a better option for Carolina over Bryce Young.
I did question that.
Okay, well, let me tell you, the 37-year-old Red Rifle looked like he was 57 years old, getting sacked out there 7 times.
7 times.
7 times. He threw for 175 yards, 0 touchdowns. He lost 2 fumbles, and he tossed an interception, ending the Panthers' 3-game win streak. So much for the Red Rifle.
Gee,
Bah humbug.
now, Benny, the coach, his coach,
Yes.
could he have known that he was that bad? I mean, that's their backup.
Well, he knows he can't move.
But that's your backup. That's who he chose that's the choice at backup quarterback.
Okay.
Okay. I was hoping that the Red Rifle would give him some, some competition, some
Yeah, evidently his coach was too.
Well, I don't know what he saw in practice, but okay. I hadn't seen practice, so I was just going off of hope.
Yeah, once the season starts, the backup barely gets any reps, and he doesn't get any reps with the number 1 team ever. So, anyway, a week after I called out Jordan Love for being a bit mediocre, of course, he makes me look crazy, opens up a big old can of whoop ass on the Steelers. At one point, he completed 20 straight passes on his way to 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. Carolina is going to have their hands full with the Pack, and the Pack is at home. So I'm going to pick the Packers and go with the bias.
One of the guys who's the quarterback that always diagrams the plays?
Dan Orlovsky.
Orlovsky. I think it was Orlovsky who pointed out something that I thought was very observant relative to the Packers, because if you remember in the first half of that game, they were not looking real good. And he was saying that that Love was going long a bit much. And that in the second half he shortened up his passes and caught fire. So, it's nice to see that they can make that type of an adjustment, and if the long ball is there, they're looking for it and they got the people for it. But that run after catch was serving them quite well, so and who was the tight end for the
Tucker
Pack?
Craft.
Oh my goodness, Kraft was giving it to him. Well, yes, that was pretty good, pretty good. All right, you're going with the Pack, going with the bias. Bears at Bengals. Bias plus score of 14.3 favors the Bears, Benny. And I don't know, is Flacco hurt? I think I heard he might be hurt.
Oh, I don't know. I think maybe he's got a little minor something. I don't think that's going to keep him out of the game. If it does, they'll have to go with Jake Browning, which I'm sure they don't want to do. But I thought he finished the game kind of unscathed. I could be wrong. I have to check that out.
Top story, Joe Flacco suffers shoulder injury in Bengals loss.
Ooh,
Quarterback is 50-50 for week 9.
ooh, 50-50, huh?
50-50.
Yeah, well, that's okay. They'll does it say if it's his throwing shoulder?
It doesn't say.
Okay, I'll have to check
Well,
that out.
I'm looking at headlines right now.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. Well, that's interesting. Bears are 4-3, Bengals are 3-5. Excuse me. Bears are on the road, so we'll go over them first. Last week, their first 2 drives in Baltimore used up over 12 minutes of the first quarter. You know, a quarter is 15 minutes. They had 2 drives, they used up 12 minutes. They had the ball almost the entire first quarter, and they only came away with 2 field goals. Not a good sign. They did score a touchdown and another field goal in the fourth quarter, but in between, they turned the ball over, struggled to sustain drives, got penalized 11 times, hence 4-game win streak over. Bears. That's that roller coaster team. Every time I praise them, something like this happens. Now, let me start by saying about the Bengals, they lost to the previously winless Jets. Let's get that out of the way, first of all. They rushed for 181 yards and 3 scores on the ground, and Flacco threw for 2 touchdowns. But the defense did absolutely nothing to slow down the Jets, and they ended up losing 39-38 in a game they clearly should have won. I don't know if Flacco's injury had a lot to do with it, but yeah, their defense was basically non-existent. So now at this point, they got to regroup. They do have a home game against the Bears. Oh boy, oh boy. Bears got the bias. Jeez. This is going to probably come down to Flacco uh, being okay. Ay, ay, ay. Well, one thing's for certain. If Flacco's okay, the Bengals have no trouble scoring points. But the Bears, I don't know. I'm going to go against the bias and go with the Bengals at home.
Going with the 50-50, eh?
Yeah.
Going with the 50-50. Yeah, big mistakes. Bears make mistakes, shooting themselves in the foot. So the coach was a bit frustrated. One of the reports that I saw on him. So you're going to go against the bias, going with the Bengals over the Bears. All right. This is an interesting game, Benny. Colts at Steelers. Bias plus score of 16.1 favors the Colts. Question is, are the Steelers this is one of those games where if the Steelers show something that they could be taken serious. I think they're not taking it serious right now. Their average net points is 0. So they're scoring and they're giving up the exact number of points, which is 25. And they're coming up against the number 1 rated team in terms of net points and a team that's scoring 33.8 points per game, but only giving up 19. But the Steelers are scoring 25, and they're giving up 25, but the Colts will make you give up a lot more. So what do you got on this one?
Well, the Steelers are 4-3. They are at home against the Colts. Um, but they were home last week too. It was tough for Aaron Rodgers, really tough for him to keep the Steelers in the game against the Packers with the highest paid defense in the league getting shredded by Jordan Love. And insult to injury, the Packer fans who travel well were all up in their stadium shouting, "Go Pack, go."
Really?
Yes. And how many times has Aaron Rodgers heard "Go Pack, go"?
Oh my
But
goodness.
he was on the losing end of it this time. Not good, not good at all. Um, okay, so real quick, the Colts defeated the Titans 38-14. Not only are they 7-1 for this season, they also have some franchise records to talk about. Um, they set a franchise record for the most points scored in their first three games. It's 103 points in the first three games, and the most points scored through 6 games, which is 194 points. They also begin, and this is a franchise record, so this beats out Peyton Manning led teams.
Wow.
Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Edgerrin James, yeah, they put up more points than those guys. They
Amazing.
also became the first team in NFL history to score in their first 10 possessions of the season. If you remember back at the beginning of the season, every week when we started talking about the Bias Plus reports and I started talking about the Colts, kept saying, they haven't punted yet. They haven't punted yet. They haven't punted yet. Remember that?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So also their offense is ranked first in points per game, as noted in our Sterling net point power rankings. But that ain't all. Defensively, they're tied for fifth in sacks with the Lions and the Seahawks with 23, and they're tied for second in interceptions with the Jaguars with 10. So they are looking strong from top to bottom. I don't think they're going to have any trouble with the Steelers at all.
Benny,
Picking the
it,
Colts.
it occurs to me that if the Colts keep winning like this, the other owners in the league are going to have to start coming down on the field and putting a headset on, like the Colts owners that owner does.
Well, here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. I believe when she was first spotted doing that, they asked her why, and she said she sounded exactly like an owner should sound. I'm paying out all the money for these guys. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I'm paying out money, all the money for these guys. I want to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, living up to that paycheck, basically. But yeah, she's not doing no X's and O's, but she sure is keeping track of stuff.
She is,
Um,
and again, she was doing this all along. It's
yeah,
after
she's
her
been doing
dad
this from the
died,
start.
yeah, then it became, a little more obvious that, this young lady is out there like that. But yeah, yeah, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know 100%, but I would not be surprised if she had been doing it all along, even when he was still alive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She
Oh,
had,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So this is not new for her. She's just
Nope.
rocking and rolling as usual. Okay, next up, Broncos at Texans. Look at that little bias. 2.9 favoring the Texans, Benny. A little teeny weeny bias. That's because the Broncos are ranked ninth and the Texans are ranked eighth. Biggest difference, turnover differential. Texans definitely have that. Broncos are a little on the negative side. But that's really the big difference there between these two teams. So this could go either way. Benny, what do you got?
Well, what I got is the Texans couldn't handle the Seahawks defense back in week 7, and they lost that game. But they found things a lot easier against the injury riddled 49ers defense. CJ Stroud punished those guys, punished your guys with a season high, Jesus, 318 yards through the air with 2 touchdowns, and they had 157 total yards on the ground, and he ran for 30 of them. That's a lot for CJ. He's not known as a runner, so that's really good for the Texans there. I don't know if they looked better than they should have, because it was the Niners defense, and their defense is really badly banged up. But anyway, they put up nice numbers there. Now, Bo Nix threw an interception on Denver's first possession. Excuse me. Bo Breeze threw an interception on Denver's first possession, and Dallas turned it into a 3-0 lead. After that, the Broncos exploded and scored on 7 of their next 8 possessions, and the defense kept the Cowboys' vaunted offense from taking off. The Broncos defense once again proved how young, fast, and versatile they are, making them extremely hard to beat. And I think they're going to be extremely hard for the Texans to beat also. 2 really good defenses, but one team's 3-4 because they are offensively challenged, and the other team is 6-2 because they're not offensively challenged at all. They can put up numbers. I'm taking the Broncos and going against the bias.
Going against the bias, going with those Broncos. Okay, Benny. Yeah, that the Texas, the drives, that just seemed like these drives were just forever, man. You know, I was like, gee, we're never going to win a game like this. Okay, we talked about the Vikings. I had no idea who's going to be their quarterback, but they're going to be playing against the Lions, and the bias is favoring those Lions by 16.1. Score of 16. That's a pretty hefty bias there going for the Lions, Benny. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Why is it so hefty? Well, number one, the Vikings are ranked 18th in net points, and the Lions are ranked 3rd. So the Vikings are coming in at -1, and the Lions are plus 9.1. So that's a nice differential right there. And then you got the Lions being favored on the turnover differential as well. So there you go. What do you got?
Yeah, the old NFC North at the beginning of the season looked like it was going to be really rugged, but it's starting to look like the haves and the have-nots right now. So I hope for Carson Wentz's sake, JJ McCarthy's ready to go this weekend because I don't know how much more he can take. He started the Chargers game with an injury to his non-throwing shoulder, and he got sacked 5 times. Worse than that, he got hurried and hit a bunch of times and came up wincing in pain quite a bit. A big part of the issue for Minnesota, though, is their defense. And, I'm always talking about Brian Flores, and he likes to take a lot of chances and really challenge offenses. But things are just not working out for these guys. I don't know if it's a personnel issue or what, but
Benny,
yes.
Carson Wentz out for the season.
Oh boy. Well, that answers that. He won't be there. Now the question is, will JJ McCarthy be ready? And I believe they speculated last week that this would be the week he would come back. So if that works out for them, then I guess we'll see JJ. Their defense let them down in the Chargers loss and the loss to Philly. So it's kind of par for the course. They gave up 434 total yards last week. That's crazy. 227 on the ground. They can't stop anybody, man. They're in big trouble right now, Minnesota. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is at this point. Not against anybody that's good, and especially anybody that's good on the ground. Let alone the offensive machine that is the Detroit Lions, who are coming off the bye. Last time we saw them, they were flexing on the Tampa Bay Bucks, beating them 24-9. I got to go with the Lions and go with the bias.
Yeah, that's no need in going out on a limb on that one for sure. Going with the bias, going with the Lions. Chargers at Titans, bias plus score of 17.3. Favors the Chargers. Yeah, the Titans are just the worst. 32nd ranked, -15 net points. Chargers are 13th at plus 1.9. That's not big, but it's a big differential for the Titans. So what do you got on this?
Yeah, the Chargers are that roller coaster team I kept talking about. They're 5-3. They're going to have to go to Tennessee. I just talked about the smackdown that they put on the Vikings, which was a much needed bounce back after they looked a little questionable back in week 6, barely beating a struggling Dolphins team. And then in week 7, getting handled by a really good Colts team. to me, the jury's still out on the Chargers. I really can't call it. These guys, I mean, if you barely beat the Dolphins and then look like you don't even belong on the field against the Colts, I don't know what to make of you, but I can't make anything good out of that. Now, the Titans got pounded by the Colts and are now 3 games into a losing streak since firing their head coach with no relief in sight. Um, got to go with the Chargers on the road to beat Tennessee.
All right. Going with the bias, going with the Chargers. All right, here we go. Uh-oh. Betty, 49ers at Giants. Bias plus score of 4.4 favors my Niners. My beloved 49ers at your New York Football Giants. What can I tell you? Both teams hurting. What do they call it with when both teams are like a mass unit type situation? Can my mass unit beat your mass unit?
Well, sir, at least you guys are 5-3. You still got hopes for the playoffs. Ours are hanging by a thread, and it's such a thin thread. I don't even really want to talk about it. 2-6. But anyway, as if there wasn't enough bad news for the Niners, here's some more bad news for the Niners. In their loss to Houston, they went almost the entire first half before they gained their first down. Now, it was against Houston. Good defense.
No, good
And
offense. Houston just ate up the clock on long drives. It was
Well, yeah,
amazing.
that'll do it. But when you do get the ball, you got to do something with it.
Well, they didn't.
Uh,
We didn't. We.
yeah, there was the whole first quarter and almost the entire second quarter before they got a first down. So that means it must have been a couple 3-and-outs in there. I didn't count them. And the focal point of their offense, which is Christian McCaffrey, was totally shut down. That's a scary proposition for you guys. You really don't have much of a chance when that kind of happens. You can't let that happen, and you're not going to beat anybody. I'm sure things will get better if you guys get some players back from injury, uh, and that's got to happen on both sides of the ball. But along the way, somehow, some way, you got to find a pass rush, bro. Without a pass rush, even with McCaffrey playing well, you're always going to be in danger of getting outscored. Now, my Giants had a promising start to their game against the Eagles. They punted on the first possession, but then their second possession, they came right back, tied the score up 7-7. But a crucial fumble recovery was given back to Philly. An extremely questionable offensive PI reversed a touchdown catch, and Cam Scatterboo was lost for the season with a dislocated ankle on what looked to me like a hip drop tackle. Now, I'm not saying it was a hip drop tackle. I'm not saying even if it was a hip drop tackle, it was done on purpose. All I'm saying is it looked like a hip drop tackle. I don't think there was a penalty called. It just looked like the Giants could not get a break in this game. And all that stuff piled up seemed to take the starch out of them. The question is, can they get it back? I don't know. But I believe that they will get it back at home this week and they will defeat the 49ers. I'm going with the Giants against the bias.
I don't know who's going to be quarterbacking for my Niners. I don't know if Purdy thinks he's ready yet. Mac and Cheese didn't look real good, and I think he's a bit beat up at this particular point.
Oh,
So,
he's back to mac and cheese now? Oh man,
yeah,
you're,
that's where he played
you're
last
tough.
week. He's back to Mac and Cheese right now,
He
boy.
went from Mac 10 to mac and cheese. That's a
Mac and
shame.
cheese, yeah, yeah. But I like mac and cheese. It's just, again, my offensive line. You got, whereas we couldn't get a rush, everybody else seems to be able to get one on our line. So we shall see. But okay, 4.4 favors the Niners, but you're going to go against the bias, going with the Giants. There you go, man. Look, the Niners are ranked 16th, Giants are ranked 26. But hey, what can I tell you? just numbers until we lace them up on Sunday. All right, Benny. Jaguars at Raiders. Bias plus score of 16.9 favors the Jaguars, Benny.
All right. Here's a little bit of an odd occurrence. Actually, I don't know how odd it is, but it's the first time I can remember saying it. The Jaguars and the Raiders are both coming off the bye. So they both had extra time to prepare for each other. Might turn into a good game. Uh, Last time we saw Jacksonville, they were getting destroyed at home by the Rams, 35-7. Not good. And the last time we saw the Raiders, they were getting their lunch money taken from them in Kansas City, 31-0. So both teams coming off devastating losses, and they've had the bye weeks to try to get themselves together. But only one of them can win. Now, the Raiders are at home, they're 2-5. Jags, though, defense isn't great, but they do take the ball away. And Geno Smith's had a problem giving it away. Oh, this is a tough one. Jeez. I don't know. I tell you what I'm going to do. Usually, when I don't know, I go against the bias. So I'm going to do that again. Raiders at home against the bias. I'm going to take them.
That's a big one there. 16.9 going against the bias. Going
Yeah,
with
that might be the buster.
could be, could be. We shall see. Okay. All right, Benny. Next up, we have Saints at Rams. Bias plus score of 22.4 favors the Rams, Benny. That's because the Rams are ranked 6th and the Saints are ranked 30th in net points. That there kind of gives you an idea of what's going on with the differential between these two teams. But what do you have?
Well, what I have is that the Saints are clearly struggling. So much so to the point where first year head coach Kellen Moore benched his starting quarterback, Spencer Rattler, and went with rookie Tyler Shook against the Buccaneers, probably to see what he's got in Shook, um, who's obviously going to be well, I shouldn't say obviously, but who they believe is going to be their quarterback of the future. I'm assuming he's going to be the starter going forward, but I'm not sure. They might bring Rattler back. I don't know. He didn't look great while he was in there anyway. Now, the Rams are coming off the bye. Last time we saw them, I just mentioned it. They were blasting the Jaguars in Jacksonville 35-7. Really spanked them boys badly. I think there's going to be another spanking going on in LA. I'm going to take the Rams and go with the bias.
Okay, Benny. Chiefs at Bills. Bias plus score of 2.9 favors the Chiefs. That scary team. Ranked 2nd in net points. Bills are ranked 4th, so they're pretty close relative to that. Bills are actually scoring just a little bit more on average, but they're also giving up just a little bit more. So this is less than a field goal, Benny. What do you got?
This is easily my game of the week. Chiefs have all their offensive pieces back in place except for starting right guard Trey Smith and starting left tackle Josh Simmons. Obviously important pieces, but they look pretty damn good anyway, even without them. Defensively, their pass rush isn't top notch, and they don't take the ball away like some other teams, but they do take the ball away. Let me explain. If you play the Chiefs and you fall behind and you need to go for it on 4th down to sustain a drive and try to get back in the game, you're going to be in trouble because they lead the league in 4th down stops, also known as turnovers on downs.
Wow,
So,
really
so yeah, that's important. They got 12 of them. That leads the league.
scary.
Yeah. They're also top 10 in yards against, and they're 3rd in points against, as you pointed out in the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. Now, shout out to head coach Sean McDermott, who brought the Bills out of the bye week, totally prepared to go on the road and take care of business impressively against Carolina. James Cook in the run game looked seriously scary. There's that word again. and the defense looked much better than they have lately, with 7 sacks on Andy Dalton and seven tackles for loss on a Carolina team that prides themselves on their run game. So that shaky Bills defense that I said I didn't believe in, they proved themselves well against Carolina, but I got to see them do it again. Um,
The test.
this is the test. I tell you, the Bills have beaten the Chiefs before in the regular season.
Regular season.
It's the postseason that they have trouble with.
Dipper.
Yeah, and they are going to be home, and they looked real impressive. I don't trust their pass rush. I'm going to go with the bias and go with the Chiefs. I can't. I just can't. I can't trust these guys, man. I want to pick the Bills. Let me just say this. I'm going to take the Chiefs, but I really, really want to pick the Bills. Not because I don't like the Chiefs, but because I know they have the capacity to win this game. But the Chiefs are just getting better and better and better every week. It's scary.
Oh, it's Halloween, Benny. This is the time to get scared. That's what it's all
For
about.
real.
So, okay, there you go. Seahawks at Commanders. Say it with me, Benny. Commanders. Bias plus score of 9.5, however, favors the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're at the Commanders. And I'm assuming Jaden Daniels is still out, so he won't be playing.
Yeah, I haven't heard the latest on Jaden Daniels. That's the only problem with us doing this on Wednesday. They don't bring out the real medical reports until Thursday. But yeah, I don't think it looks good. He's got a hamstring, right?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. It's a leg injury, and I don't think it looked good when it happened. That usually takes at least 2 weeks, so I'm going to assume he's not going to be there. Meaning we're going to have to see Marcus Mariota again. Now the Commanders did get Terry McLaurin and Debo Samuel back from injury, um, but Mariota had to start in place of Jaden Daniels last week. None of that mattered or would have mattered against the resurgent Chiefs, who gave them their third loss in a row. They are tied for sixth in sacks with 22, but they can't stop anybody. That's their problem. So, not looking good for the Commanders. The Seahawks, on the other hand, are coming off the bye. The last time we saw them, they were wearing the Texans out with their dominant defense and their top three wide receiver, Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's having an outstanding season. I think that outstanding season for him and for the Seahawks will continue. I'm going with the bias, and I'm going to pick them to beat the Commanders.
Going with the bias. Going with the Seahawks. Okay, Benny, here we go. Cardinals at Cowboys. Bias plus score of 0.4, Benny. Favors the Cardinals. They're ranked 15th in net points. Cowboys are 17th, so you're looking at 0.1 versus 0.5 net points. And they are tied at negative 0.1 in turnover differential. That little teeny tiny difference is all that separates the Cardinals and the Cowboys. Again, Cardinals, one of those teams ranked 20th in scoring and 13th in points against. So at least they're kind of in the same area, whereas the Cowboys are second in scoring and 31st on defense. So you got that middle of the road team playing this team with the divergence of about as much as you can get in terms of scoring and giving up points. So there you go. Cardinals and Cowboys favoring the Cardinals.
Okay, so looks like Kyler Murray's going to come back this week. So we did get a positive report on somebody that was injured. He had a foot injury, but I believe he's going to be back this week. Um, but anyway, it's been a few weeks since the Cowboys offense came up against a talented defense that was playing really, really well. The Broncos fit the bill, allowing themselves to win the offensive track meet that usually goes to Dallas. Again, anybody with any semblance of a defense can hold Dallas down and possibly beat them because they just don't seem to be able to stop anybody. But then you're going to usually get yourself into a scoring match unless your defense is somewhat up to par and can slow Dak down a little bit. Now the Cardinals are coming off the bye. The last time we saw them, they were losing a tough one to the Packers, 27-23. I definitely want to go with the Cardinals on this, especially with Kyler Murray back. I'm going to go with the Cards and the bias.
All right. Going with the bias, going with the Cardinals. What we got next?
That's it.
That must have been the Monday night game, which meant that Seahawks Commanders would have been the Sunday night game. Because once we've completed our review of all the games, we have one last piece of business that we have to take care of, Benny, and it's important. It's important. It's big, Benny. It's big because, these teams come up against the bias all the time. The bias says, you're going to lose, you're going to lose, you're going to lose. But then they win, Benny, and the Miami Dolphins had the bias plus Buster score of
Obvious.
37.2. The
Not
Dolphins
only
are
did they win,
busting
but they
out.
won big. Kind of figured that one out.
They're busting out on the funk, Benny. The Miami Dolphins. Wow. I mean, they did play amazing, though. I mean, I'm like looking at these guys, I'm like, did y'all have a players only meeting and people actually showed up or something? What happened here? You know?
That's part of the problem. They had too many of them,
Yeah,
John.
too many of them. Either that or they heard that the Ravens lost all of their toys in the locker room and they're like, oh no, we better get our act together. We're gonna use our PlayStation.
Oh my God.
I tell you. Well, anyway, I believe that's it for the week. You got any final words?
Um, nah, I was gonna say a little something about the tush push. But I mean my timeline is riddled with people talking about the tush push now. And most of what they're talking about, obviously, is the specific thing that happened in the Giants game with the fumble. But besides that, they're just kind of repeating all the other stuff that I talked about weeks ago and got lambasted for even mentioning it by Eagles fans. So now they kind of see what I'm talking about. Now maybe I wasn't saying it right, but what's coming out now is exactly what I was saying. The fact that the play can't be officiated, which in fact is part of the advantage that they have. Okay. Yet somehow, some way, not only are the officials not officiating it properly, but they don't seem to be officiating it at all. We still got a bunch of um, um,
All
um,
sides.
offsides or false starts, and then they're treating forward motion as if they're at the goal line, but they're not at the goal line. They're trying to cross the first down line. It's like the refs are going goofy. And I'll tell you the truth, the ref situation this season has not been good in general. Okay. I've seen bad calls in numerous games, but this past week was really bad. And I know people are going to say, oh, you're a Giants fan. Of course, you're going to say that. Listen, Quinyon Mitchell, who's an excellent corner, is playing one on one against Darius Slayton, who's a little bit above average wide receiver. Number one, past 5 yards, not supposed to be touching it. So he gives him an elbow and a forearm. Then he grabs his wrist. Then he pulls his shirt. And when Slayton puts his hand to his chest, he gets called for offensive pass interference. If anything, should have been no call, hand fighting on both sides. But it's worse because Mitchell wasn't hand fighting. He was grabbing. He was grabbing. So pitiful, terrible call. Um, I don't even want to talk about the tush push fumble. That should be obvious. In fact, if he doesn't fumble the ball, they'll let him push for 10 seconds until he comes to a dead stop.
Yeah, they
But
blew that.
now all of a
They
sudden he
blew
drops
that
the
dead.
ball. Yeah, but then he drops the ball. Oh, it's over. It's over.
No, and Ben, how many weeks ago did I say that it looked like the strategy for the tush push was to go for the fumble because my man Hurts is body surfing. He's not touching down, so he's up in
Right.
the air.
That's right.
So
So he's not going to be down by contact.
not
So
going to be
that's the
down.
time to go for the ball.
Go
You're
for the
exactly
ball.
right. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, man, amazing, amazing. Um, well, I'll finish up with this. An act of humanity between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. I hear Hurts and Saquon went to visit Scatterboo in the hospital, and I hear that what's the security guy, big somebody,
Big Dom brought pizza and
pizzas
cheesesteaks.
and cheesesteaks and stuff.
Whoopie doo. He
Hey,
better had got him from Angelo's.
it's a bit of humanity that we should celebrate, Benny.
They should feel bad.
So, anywho, Ben and Barry on football. Visit www.benandbarryonfootball.com. Please click the notification button and hit the follow button and the notification bell. We'll get it together there and follow us. Any last words?
Done.
Peace. Go Aces.
Season's over.
So